Two state senators from opposite parties are teaming up on a bipartisan push aimed at what goes into the food on your plate. Democratic Senator Andrew Zwicker and Republican Senator Mike Testa are sponsoring a bill that would ban several food additives and dyes that are linked to harmful health effects. Things like cancer, hormone disruption, and behavioral issues in children. The pair put out a social media video touting the effort and why they're tackling the issue. Take a look.
So we're teaming up on a bill that will ban these additives that are known to cause severe health issues like kidney damage, memory loss, and cancer.
And we're planning on adding amendments to phase out these food dyes in school lunches.
Yeah, well, the bill recently cleared out of committee and could put New Jersey among the most aggressive states for regulating chemicals in food. As part of our Under the Dome series, I spoke with the senators earlier this week about what prompted their action. Senator Testa, Senator Zwicker, thanks for coming on the show. I wonder why it was that food safety was the issue that broke partisan lines here. Why did that bring you both together?
Well, I'll say a couple things. One, I don't think it broke partisan lines. We work in a bipartisan way as often as we possibly can. This is something that food safety I've been working on for quite some time, both within the state and in partnership with Senator Booker at the federal level. And so it seemed like a perfect time to ensure that this was bipartisan as we move forward. Senator Testa and I talked about it, and we talked about the policy, we talked about all the implications, and so very happy that we're doing this in a bipartisan manner.
So, Senator Testa, what would change exactly? What additives are being targeted here?
So look, it's mostly some of the what are deemed to be harmful food dyes. And I would even go a little bit further than Senator Zwicker said, that this isn't bipartisan. Food safety and the health of our children is a nonpartisan issue. It certainly should be a nonpartisan issue. So, these what are deemed to be harmful additives, harmful food dyes, these are the things that are targeted here that, potentially harm our children's health, potentially harm our health each and every day. Senator Zwicker and I both serve on the Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee. And, look, sometimes we are adversarial, on fiscal policy. But when it comes to the health of our children, the health of New Jerseyans, it's certainly a place that we can come together. And again, I would say in a nonpartisan manner.
Senator Zwicker, so there's 4 substances, is that right, that you all are looking to initially ban and then potentially beyond that? Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, and the 4 substances that are, with long names, but are food colorings, food additives to make food look particularly attractive to us, or we're also deeply concerned about how it looks to children. These are substances that have already been banned for quite some time in Europe. And we're seeing other states in the United States also moving to ban these substances as well. And so we are going beyond that to say, and Senator Testa alluded to it, that when it comes to children, we want to be hyper vigilant. And so we will also be banning some of these harmful substances from schools. For the fact that children are developing, and it makes no sense when there are alternatives, natural alternatives, to have these harmful substances in food. And so that's the intent of the legislation. As I said, Europeans have had these out of their food for quite some time, and the United States is frankly slow to get behind this, but now momentum is building.
Yeah, didn't Senator Testa, didn't Washington, or the FDA rather, already ban red dye number 3 and the brominated vegetable oil? Why then did you both feel like New Jersey needed to be even a step ahead? Was the runway there just too long for the phase out at the federal level?
Well, I look at it this way, some of those memes that you see on social media, and Senator Zwicker alluded to it, you'll see the European product, and then you'll see the American product, and the American product has, what are deemed potentially harmful food additives, food dyes, and the list of ingredients is far longer on the American product, and they're usually American companies. So why not make our food products better? Look, we've seen what's been happening with the Secretary of Health, Robert Kennedy Jr. This is a really great initiative. It's not something that's going to hurt the companies that are producing these products. They're already producing this exact product that is sold in Europe. They certainly can make it here. It should be available to Americans. It should be available to New Jerseyans, and the healthy alternatives should absolutely be available to our school children.
Yeah, Senator Zwicker, I mean, as an outspoken Democrat, do you think there's some credit due there to Secretary Kennedy, as the senator said? I mean, he's really led this Make America Healthy movement, this MAHA movement, which has focused a lot on food and the additives that are in it here in the U.S.
Well, a stopped watch is right twice a day. And while I am proud to work in a nonpartisan, bipartisan manner with Senator Testa, I think that RFK Jr. is one of the most dangerous people in the United States at this point. The vast majority of what he is promoting is anti-science. It's harmful to children. It worries me tremendously as a parent. Having said that, okay, he also advocates getting rid of these harmful food dyes. Great. I would say the FDA does not move fast enough. It's certainly not moving in a scientific manner at this point anymore. And so it is beholden upon us at the state level to do everything we can to protect New Jersey's children and New Jersey citizens.
So you hold two truths at once there, is what I'm hearing from you. Senator Testa, how quickly would people in New Jersey start to see these changes? How does the bill outline it?
Well, look, it really matters how, if, and when the governor signs the legislation. And look, because it does have bipartisan support, it will. As far as when it would be implemented, I do have to respond a little bit, to Senator Zwicker's allegations against the Secretary of Health. And again, I was hoping it wouldn't go in this partisan manner. But, you look at this, we don't need to look too far back in our history to remember Dr. Fauci, who was saying that we were following the science, which in fact we absolutely were not. Science is an evolving topic
Not true.
at all points in time. Well, okay, I didn't interrupt you, Senator, but look, it was no mask, one mask, two mask. Nobody really was sure what was happening during the COVID-19 period, and we were getting all types of recommendations, and we found out that we didn't need to shut down our schools for 2 years and have children learn remotely and suffer severe learning loss.
All right, well, sure, we'll rein it back in, Senator, because I do want to get to how quickly families could see these changes.
2 years. So what we're trying to do is we've talked to the companies that make these products, and let's be clear, they all want to do the right thing, and they are all looking for natural or alternatives for the substances that we are going to now ban in New Jersey. So one of the things that was important, if you're a national company and you work over all 50 states, we've tried very hard to align what we're doing to the same time frame that other states are doing. So as Senator Testa talked about, once the governor signs it, it'll implement a 2-year time period to give these companies enough time to make the changes so the products they sell in New Jersey are now in compliance with the new law.
And Senator Testa, quickly before we have to go, knowing what we do about some of the side effects that these chemicals that are in the foods can have, why then was it important for you to focus on kids, on schools specifically as well?
Well, look, my wife is a public educator, and she tells me tales, and some of her friends tell me tales of some of the hyperactivity of some of the children that are in their schools. And, maybe some of these food additives that they're getting at breakfast or lunch is leading to that. So we want to make sure that those children are able to actually be in a learning environment, and the ones that are around them who are potentially being negatively affected by another student's hyperactivity. We need to make sure that our learning environments are safe, both from, outside intruders and as well as, the food that they're ingesting each and every day at breakfast and lunch when they're at school.
All right, kids' health and safety, something I think we can all agree on. Senator Testa, Senator Zwicker, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you so much for having us.
Under the Dome is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.